This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan. With your host, Bradley Summers. And get the latest from Alpena Community College with ACC President Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Bradley Summers. Today, my first guest is Jonathan Winkowski from the Jesse Besser Museum for Northeastern Michigan. Hi.
Hey, how's it going? We actually just go by the Besser Museum nowadays.
The Besser Museum, sorry, yes.
It's all right. So, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here with us today. So I understand you have, you're winding down on some of your summer programming, which is sad to say that we're winding down on summer programming in our area, but I understand that you have some awesome initiatives that are coming up.
Absolutely. We are trying to bring the dark skies to people in a more presentable fashion. One thing I've noticed about our wonderful dark skies, such as like at Rockport, is that they are beautiful, but overwhelmingly so. You go out there for the first time, being in the city most of your life, and it's just like, wow, I have no idea what to look at, where to go, anything like that. So we're starting up a program called Beyond the Stars, where we're trying to give people a sort of dark sky education by using our planetarium.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that, you know, in the area that we live in, there's not a lot of light pollution. You know, there's only a few specific, you know, locations that produce a lot more of the light pollution than anywhere else. But for anything like comparable to, you know, downstate or something like that, it's pretty awesome that, you know, we can drive 20 minutes and literally be in the middle of nowhere and look up and see just dark sky everywhere we are.
It's so amazing. I read recently that over 80% of Americans can't even see the Milky Way, and yet we can literally take a 5-minute trip outside of town and it's just there, staring back at us.
Well, and then, you know, as the planetarium coordinator as you are, I bet you have a lot of things that you can talk to the people about or educate the community on, and how they can better, like you were saying too, observe and understand what they're seeing.
Oh, for sure. There are just so many constellations, dark sky objects such as galaxies, nebulas, and just other small things that the human eye can pick up, but you'd have no idea what it is you're even looking at unless you know how to observe these objects. So we really just want to give people the full benefit of our dark sky parks by showing them, hey, here's how you can see a galaxy 2.5 million light years away without any optical tools whatsoever. All you got to do is just come to our shows and figure it out for yourself from there.
Well, we were talking a little bit before the show too that, you know, the Northern Lights is a pretty neat thing to see.
Oh, the Northern Lights, especially last week, a lot of people were seeing them. And of course, that's another thing that only a dark sky is really going to be able to preserve for you. After all, here even inside the city of Alpena, we could have very bright northern lights happening, but it would be drowned out by that light pollution.
Yeah, and Rockport has always been a really big hot spot, you know, for, you know, obviously observing dark sky, and then of course seeing the northern lights as well. I've been lucky on a few different occasions throughout my life to actually have seen these, you know, the northern lights out there. And, you know, as a kid, I didn't realize, you know, how lucky we actually are to live in an area like we live in. You know, and then you leave and come back and you're like, wow, this is absolutely incredible. And, you know, for you to be able to educate people on that, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And I believe there's so many people here who, even just growing up in the Alpena region, probably don't have a full understanding of the natural beauty that is around them. So we really want to just help those folks come to terms with the resources that they have available and show them how to make the best of it.
And maybe you can even help, you know, people and educate people on the misconceptions of satellites over UFOs.
Absolutely. I get plenty of questions about what are those small, fast-moving objects? Is that a UFO? I'm like, well, technically, you don't know what it is, so it is unidentified. But it is probably just a satellite, high-flying airplane, or something else entirely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, odds are probably not aliens.
Yeah, probably not aliens, but
Sorry.
we can all wishful thinking.
Yeah.
So How do I, if I want to participate in these classes, how do I do so?
Sure, we're gonna start putting up some advertisements and releasing information about our Beyond the Stars program here within the next week or so. From there, people will be able to, of course, buy tickets, reserve spaces ahead of time if they want to, or they could always just show up on the day of the event. And right now we're planning for the first one to happen on Friday night on October 7th at 7 p.m. But of course, things can change, so that is tentative at the moment.
Yeah, what a beautiful way to spend an evening, you know, to go out and, you know, maybe even have marshmallows or do something kind of neat like that. And,
Absolutely.
And look at the beautiful sky around us.
Yeah, if the weather's clear, we would love to bring out our smart telescope and actually show off like these galaxies and nebulas just from our backyard. But of course, it is Northeast Michigan, and if you don't like the weather, it might change 5 minutes later.
Yeah, right.
So we'll just cross our fingers and hope for the best. And at the very least, people have that information when they leave. So when the weather does finally work out in our favor, they can go out and find all of these just wonderful objects and just truly appreciate that dark sky for themselves.
So the classes, do they take place at the planetarium as well, and then take what is being learned there out into the real world?
Kind of. We're going to start in the planetarium, of course, try and bring people into our simulated dark sky that we have there, and just kind of move to the museum backyard and try and do some observing right there. Obviously, it would be great to go to Rockport, but there are a lot of difficulties and getting lots of people to go out there at night. So it's just easier to leave people with these resources and education. That way they can, you know, take advantage of it for themselves.
Yeah, and then we see all those beautiful photos that they're posting on social media, and then, you know, hear people talk about it, and, you know, it gets other people energized, and it gets other people really interested in these things, which helps make your job a little bit easier in the long run.
Absolutely. The fact that things like the James Webb Telescope have been taking all of these beautiful pictures has really just activated something in the hearts of people. They see all this amazing mystery and gorgeous wonder of the universe, and they're like, I need to know more about that.
Right.
So they'll come over to our planetarium, and we're like, yeah, you don't have to have a super billion-dollar telescope. You can go out and see this stuff for yourself. And that's always just, whew.
Oh, that's just incredible. So if anybody wants more information, they can visit your website, call you directly at the museum.
Yep.
And just inquire.
Yeah, you can also check out the Facebook page that we have, not just for the museum, but for the planetarium as well. And I'll post any updates and event details there as soon as we have officially decided on them.
Awesome. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time here today.
Thanks for having me.
As always, these interviews go extremely quick, and I appreciate you being here and talking about all the wonderful things you're doing. Thank you all for joining us for the first segment. Stay tuned for Justin Christensen Cooper from Art in the Loft after the break. Welcome back. My next guest is Justin Christensen Cooper from Art in the Loft. Hey, Justin.
Or Northeast Michigan Center for Fine Arts. That's fine too.
Yeah, well,
sorry. No, I'm just messing.
You said Art in the Loft was just fine.
I did say.
But
legal name though is that. So,
yeah. Well.
But if we said that, it's nobody. You know, Art in the Loft is so much easier to say. So
it is.
there you go.
It's less of a mouthful.
I would agree.
Yes. So I understand you're also winding down on a lot of your summer programming.
We are, yeah.
But you're starting up a lot of different initiatives here in September.
Correct.
A lot of really cool things going on. You want to talk about a little bit about those things?
Yeah, that'd be great. You know, the first thing that I want to make sure that we let everybody know is that we just ended submissions. By the time this airs, we just ended submissions for our annual juried art exhibit. This is our 7th one that we've done already, where it has a specific theme. Just like Besser Museum, who was just on here, they have a great. Their new gallery space is gorgeous and beautiful, and but they do an art show as well. Where we differ though is we always have a kind of a unique theme. So this year's theme was the 5 senses. We're picking up kind of where we left off with one of our brand new programs is Art in the 5 Senses, which we're bringing hands-on art opportunities to those dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's. Cool. And so we're like, man, that's such a good theme. Let's see how some of our local artists can sort of capture that. So what they have to do with this is take and embody one of those major senses, you know, sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and sort of embody one of their artworks to take on one of those. And what we want them to do is sort of leave it to the viewer on which one they're really kind of evoking with their artwork. And then if the viewer really wants to know, they'll flip up their nameplate, and then there'll be an artist statement there about the piece.
Wow.
So, which will be so it's kind of an interactive show as well. And you know, we're on pace to have just as many artists as we have before. We had, I think, about 50 artists on display for the show last time. Last year it was Emerald, which was really neat. And so we sometimes do colors, sometimes do more of one that makes kind of a thinker, you know, that makes you think about how you can interpret that theme. So that opens October 6th, and we're really excited to get that going. And that's just a month-long show, and then we get into our regular winter season.
And that's for all ages.
Yeah, it is, definitely. Yep, it sure is. We'd love to see, we'll probably have a student section, actually, for that one, too. So.
Yeah, that's cool. 50 artists, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, you know, because we limit. It's not like, unlike our normal seasons, which is like summer view and winter view, an artist might have a whole display or a whole wall, and they might have anywhere between 10 and 200 pieces, depending on how, you know, depending on how small their work is. So this one is very limited. It gives you more of a true gallery experience walking in. All the artwork has like room to breathe, and you can really take it in. It's really, really unique.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
So I bet there's a lot of like textured things and things.
You know, I'm just really curious.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really curious to see how it all comes together and sort of what mediums kind of show themselves with this. You know, when we did the black and white was our initial one that we did in 2015. That was the first time we kicked off a juried show. And it kind of stayed with where we thought. Black and white lends itself to photography, and we did have a lot of photography with that one. But then when you get to more of an abstract kind of theme, I'm really curious to see how our artists are going to be able to interpret that. So
that's cool.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know you're always doing good work over there.
Appreciate that.
There's always a lot of really good buzz in the community about the cool things that are going on.
Thank you.
You know, especially with your leadership and, you know, the wonderful staff that you work with too, that really brings in that awesome perspective.
They do a great job.
You know, and reaching out to people in the community and rallying everybody together to do something really neat. And that's, you know, there's so many very talented people in our community.
It's crazy. I mean, so Lane Blair Olson, our education coordinator, speaking of awesome staff, is she has a great slate of September classes that we just unveiled. So those can all be seen on the website, artintheloft.org. And in fact, we just released these like 2 days ago, and some are already filling up. So I think people are like, yeah, the kids are in school. We're going to go do some of this stuff. So, but we have stuff for all ages. You know, ages like 4 up to 94 are offerings right now. And so I just really want to make sure people know that we have a great slate of September classes. And we do those by month. So at the end of this month, you'll see the October classes, the end of October into the fall. And it's just really exciting to get new experiences. We have a crepes class coming up, which is going to be fun. And we're always trying to get new themes, new people to actually instruct these classes too. I think a lot of people think of it, well, I don't know anything about art, or I can't do that. But it's, you know, once you get in there and get hands-on and learn from someone that's what they know best, it's really just engaging, and what you can then take that skill and take it home and do with your kids, or you can make a new menu item that week. It's just kind of a unique experience.
Yeah, I see Rick Yasso is one of the presenters on one of these classes.
He's doing a tortilla class.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. You know, he's known for those, and so we're lucky enough to where he might just be making them one day for the staff, and we're like, yeah, let's eat these up. Well, he's taking those skills, and he's done it a few other times too, but he's taking those skills now to the public, and where people can get hands-on with these authentic way of making tortillas.
You know, one of the more celebrated ones that I hear a lot about, of course, it has to do with booze too, is the corkscrews and canvas.
Yep. Those are a lot of fun, and you know, it's 2 hours. You're gonna start a painting and finish a painting in that 2 hours, and just have a good time doing it too. You know, no skill necessary. I say that with all of our classes though, and people are like, yeah, whatever, and I'm like, no, for real. Our artists are gonna, and our instructors are gonna walk you through this and make sure that you have something successful and proud of. So
that's cool, and that's run by a relatively new staff member that you have, correct?
Well, right now she's just brought on to do some teaching of classes.
Okay.
Yep, that's Allison Ray Campbell. Lane had a great connection with her. Brought her on. She did a lot of our summer programming with Art Around the World, which is a partnership with the public schools. And now she's really getting infiltrated into a lot of our classes, and she's a great instructor. So.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I know there's a lot more going on too. You have Saturday morning art?
We do. So, yep, we call that SMART. Acronym at use there. I know. Pretty good stuff. I know.
Smart.
It's smart. Let me tell you. Yeah. And that one is roughly ages 5 to 12. And that's always a different theme. And it's on Saturday morning, of course. And we just really enjoy getting those kids sort of in a different classroom setting. You know, they're back to school and used to that. But once you get them up at the loft, they can oversee the water and it's all this light pouring in. It's just really a cool experience for them, too.
Because it's a beautiful, you know, as you mentioned, you know, the Besser Museum has a beautiful space,
they really
you have a beautiful space up there as well.
Yeah, we kind of hang our hat on that space, just knowing that it really lends itself to what we want to do and leads our mission. So.
Yeah, and every once in a while you get a 4-year-old that takes the elevator all the way up to the top.
Oh, yeah.
I made a joke, I think, the last time you were on about that, but it still rings in my head. Like, I just, you know.
We always know when a 4-year-old's in there, too, because that alarm bell just goes zing, zing, zing the whole time. It's fun.
Yeah, a little redhead with a smile on his face, that would be my son, yes.
That's the one.
And I understand, too, your Ready, Set, Create program is set to begin.
Yeah, so it's been on a COVID hiatus, and we're finally getting it back up and going. It's been a huge partnership. It's actually our flagship education program. It's what brought Art in the Loft into the education realm of arts. And we're going to see every 4th grader in the public school system for 4 weeks of arts instruction. But it also extends out to Pied Piper, parochial schools, and then homeschool groups as well. And we just cannot wait to bring that back. And that's because of the funding through the Alpena Youth and Recreation Committee. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
I was really happy to see, you know, obviously that passed this year, because that affects a lot of what you do, what, you know, the Boys and Girls Club does, and a lot of other entities in our community.
Exactly.
And important projects and imperative projects for our community as well. And
Crucial is what I would say. If you take away that funding, the community as a whole devalues. It truly does.
Yeah, and it's just awesome to have that assistance. And you know, fundraising is always very difficult, as you know. But we're all shaking the same trees, but at the same time, you know, they're just wonderful people that just continue to support you and support everything that's going on.
I was going to say, and on that same hand, we're all partnering with, you know, we do a lot of things with Boys and Girls Club Art in the Loft, but then, you know, with Besser Museum and trying to pick up on what they're trying to do, and Alpena Senior Citizen Center, and we're just kind of bringing, you know, it's not like we're all just trying to do our own thing. I think we sort of realize that it is a smaller community. We are shaking the same trees, but so like, why not work together?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and that mantra right there will make everything more successful.
That's exactly it.
Well, thank you. That's the end of our time today. It goes by quick, I know, especially because we'll continue this conversation, I'm sure, over coffee or lunch here very soon. But thank you all for joining us today and listening to both the wonderful guests and what's going on in our nonprofit world. Stay tuned for Don McMaster after the break.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning ACC student Duncan Ross.
Hi.
Welcome, Duncan.
Thank you.
So, Duncan, you do a lot of really neat things at the college, and you know, this was brought to my mind again when we did our Welcome Back Bash earlier this week, and you had a nice little chessboard out. And so you're head of, one of the things you do is you're head of the chess club here you're at ACC. Tell the viewers a little bit about how that came to be and why you love chess.
Yeah, Don, it all started in 2019, actually, excuse me, 2020. It was my sophomore year. I was in the cross-country program, and I had a teammate that I was living with, Nate Roby, and we started playing chess, you know, at night. We'd play a few games, and that was cool, but after a couple weeks, we were like, kind of boring, playing against each other, you know? So we both actually founded the club, and with the help of Mrs. Nancy Saya, she was very helpful. She was able to point us in the right direction to get resources. She got our advisor hooked up with us, Mr. Jim Burles. Very helpful. So 2020, it was really a slow year because of COVID. You know, we couldn't have meetings, and people, they didn't really want to meet anyways, you know. So 2020, we mostly focused on gathering our resources, and 2021, we were faced with an entirely new challenge, which was we didn't have any people. Because like I said, we couldn't recruit anyone the first year. So 2021, we started having meetings, and we started experimenting with different ways that we could bring on new members. Some things worked, some things didn't. But anyways, fast forward to now, 2022, we figured out what works, what doesn't. We have our materials, and we're ready to go.
Yes, you are ready to go. How many students will you have that are a part of the club that are playing chess regularly?
Our first meeting was yesterday, and we had 7 people show up. By the end of this semester, I would like to double that.
Yeah.
I think that I've learned enough, that we have learned enough from the past 2 years to really make this our best year so far.
Wonderful. Well, I'm a huge fan of chess. I haven't played it in a long time, but you and I played a game.
Yeah,
and,
you played well.
Well, thank you. You beat me.
You
but,
got to bring that up.
But I just think it's delightful, and such a neat thing for young people to do, to organize around an activity like that. I really think very highly of it. And so congratulations on that. If you get to 14 chess players, I think, you'll be doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I also see you're wearing, looks like Coach Jacobs got you to represent the cross-country team wearing the shirt. How's that going?
It's going really well. I came here in 2019 to run on the cross-country team, and like I said, I was able to run for 3 years because of COVID, and my last year running was technically last year, but this year he brought me on as an assistant coach, which is wonderful. I love it so far. Our goal as coaches is to instill the culture and the young men that we bring on, the culture that has really changed my life over the past 3 years. And I'm honored that he brought me on. But like I said, our priority is to teach the young men on the cross-country team lessons that'll help them throughout the rest of their life, like I was taught, because, you're coming out of high school, especially like I'm from Rogers City, you don't really know what to expect coming into the world, and I think that we really equip our runners with skills that they'll take into the rest of their lives.
Wow, what a powerful statement. What a powerful observation about Coach Jacobs' influence and his positive impact on his runners, which I see and appreciate very much. Speak, if you would, a little bit to that culture that you as an assistant coach and a former runner, and Coach Jacobs, what is that culture, and what are you trying to create there? I'm interested in that.
Sure, a lot of it, it's simple at the end of the day. You do the right thing, you do the little things. We have all our runners sit in the front row of class, which, high school, I was the kid, I always sat in the back. I'd barely squeak by. My last 2 years in college, I got 4.0s. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't have if I didn't sit in the front row and dedicate myself every day to it. It's little things like that. It's little things like when you meet someone, you shake their hand, you introduce yourself, you make an impression on people. It's really just things like that at the end of the day, You, every day, you say, okay, how can I be a better person than I was yesterday?
That's great. And I see that in his runners. You guys do a lot of running.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that part is astounding to me. What would be a normal practice day for you guys?
Well, today was an easy day and we ran 5 miles. We usually run between 5 and 15 miles, depending on the day. We run at 6 in the morning. That's another thing. You wake up early.
Yeah.
It's a massive benefit to your life. We run at 6 in the morning, and you get ready for the day. Lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you as a young person who can recollect, or not. I can recollect when I was a young person. Many not good things happened when you stayed up too late.
Not at all. Not at all.
And so getting up early and running and having that discipline, that focus, sitting up front, as Coach Jacobs calls it, the A seats, is great. I appreciate all of that. So we got about 30 seconds left. Duncan, tell us what your plans are after this semester. You're done, right?
Yeah, I am.
So what's your where are you headed next?
Well, in the near future, I'm looking for a job. I was looking for a job in car sales, actually, and I have some experience working as an automotive tech in the past, and I went into a dealership, and I talked to them about being into sales, and I ended up talking to a few different people there, and they said, you know what, we don't have a position open in sales right now, but you know, we like you a lot, so if you want to come on and work for us as a tech for a few years, go into sales, that's an option that you can pursue. And I'm actually going to talk to them today to follow up about that, but that's my plans for the near future. I'll probably stay in Alpena at least the next 5 years and see where it takes me.
Wonderful, Duncan. I think, you know, there are well-paying jobs in that area, and thank you for what you do for ACC. The chess club, great. Cross country, great. Your academic achievements, great. We appreciate it. And thank you, folks, for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts Bradley Summers and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wvkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production. All rights reserved.